Hello everyone, Cindy Saddleman here with another exciting game show review. And this time around, well, you know what's coming. Talked about Bingo Blitz a couple days ago. Now I'm talking about the new revival of Tic Tac Dough. Now, there was a lot of angst about this show when it got announced. They're like, okay, GSN version, they're going to try to fit into that perfectly round hole with this square cube. How are they going to hammer it in to fit the GSN model of $1,000, $10,000, and everything else? Oddly enough, not as bad as people think. I think right now the genuine anxiety of this show is that it is pretty far removed from what a lot of people associate Tic Tac Dough with. So here is my advice: treat it like the Joker's Wild 1990. If it was any other show not named Tic Tac Dough, what would you think about this show? And for me personally, it's not bad at all. I mean, I wouldn't consider it great by any stretch of the imagination, but for a GSN show, it is perfectly fine. Now, the smart thing that they did with this show is with the host in Brooke Burns. Now, Brooke Burns has been hosting stuff on GSN for over a decade now. She did The Chase, she did Masterminds, which had a long run, Chase had a long run. So they're kind of thinking Tic Tac Doug's gonna have a good, decent long run here. And I think that might happen. She gives it socks. She's her usual genial self, and I find that refreshing. It's like she wants to be there. I mean, we saw with Valerie Bertinelli, who's just there, whereas Brooke Burns wants to be there. She's been at this for a while, so she knows what she's doing, and she's good at it. Now, another thing that people are howling about is the virtual set. And this is from Game Changer. They did the same set as Bingo Blitz. Whereas that set was not good, we'll say. This version is perfectly fine for a set. I mean, this was done over a year ago. This is probably one of their first uh, iterations of using their technique of have these black. I said in the previous video, they have these blackout cameras where you have this, like, they have a part of the set behind them, and they're able to digitize it well to make sure it's like a big living area, a big living space, even though it's a teeny tiny little space. And the board that I'll say for the graphics wise for this show look pretty good. I mean, it's not going to blow you away, but they look solid. And that leads me to the gameplay. I mean, it's essentially Tic Tac Dough. The center box is a mystery question, which means you have to answer two questions right instead of, a two-parter, which is fine. And what some people howl about is the dragon in the front game. One of the categories will have the dragon in it. If you find the dragon, you lose your turn. And I can see why people are upset, because let's say you have to go to a certain square for a block, dragon. You lose your turn, and your opponent picks the question, and granted, the questions are relatively easy, and they win. Simple as that. Sorry about that. So I get the anxiety, but it also leads to some strategy that we saw in another episode or two this past week. I mean, somebody had a block available, but they decided to go somewhere else. Maybe get some points that way. Maybe they think the dragon was in that square, so they decided, you know what? I'll go for another box. set up a Tic Tac Dough myself, let my opponent go for the win, hope the dragon is there. So there is some strategy to this. And plus, at least getting some points on the board isn't too bad considering that the most points at the end wins. And I am perfectly fine with the third round, where you have the board and the object is to make as many Tic Tac Doughs as you can in, I think it's 60 seconds. If you, and the dragon is hidden behind one of those squares. If you hit the dragon, 5-second time penalty. If you get it right, it becomes an X or an O. If you get it wrong, slashed out. And I do like the dragon claw that it has. I would have liked to see something like fire, like a dragon's flame or something, but you can't all be winners. So you get like, I think it's like 1,000 points per Tic Tac Dough, with 500 points for each correct answer or something like that. I know I'm probably getting it wrong, but you know what? It's perfectly fine. Most points at the end wins the game $1,000, plays the bonus round for $10,000. Now, I kind of figured they weren't going to go the classic beat the dragon bonus game where you pick numbers to try to get a certain amount of money before you hit the dragon. So what they do here is you have to get one Tic Tac Dough in 60 seconds. And the dragon is always on the board blocking a square. So you have to work your way not only around the dragon, but any incorrect answers that you give, it becomes slashed out, and you have to work your way around those. So, while it theoretically is easy to get Tic Tac Dough, it's also theoretically easy to have the game end in about 15 seconds, because you could have 3 slashes in a diagonal, and that's it. You can't get Tic Tac Dough. You get Tic Tac Dough in 60 seconds, you win $10,000. Is it easy? Yes and no. If you get 3 in a row without the dragon blocking it off, you could win in about 15-20 seconds. It also begs the question... Well, it doesn't really beg a question whatsoever. It's a perfectly adequate bonus game. When I was going into this show, I just had one hope. Just don't suck. And you know what? I'll scream it from the rooftops. The GSN version of Tic Tac Dough does not suck. It's not great by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, they did take out one of the big things that made the original Tic Tac Doughs a draw, and that is the Super Champions. I mean, seeing somebody run the game for like 10 games, 15 games. Tom McKee with 43 games. So, I do miss that part a lot. Do I miss the big jackpots to go with it? I kinda, but I understand, the strict adherence to budget guidelines where they gotta have the 110 sort of thing, so this does make sense. I think out of everything, the Barry Enright shows that they have rights to all of them. Tic Tac Dough, I think, doesn't work the best. I think a good Barry Enright show that I think could work well as a GSN original is Hot Potato. Get some more teams on there, and don't have to do much for a set. And you could just essentially reuse the chain reaction set, and it's perfectly fine. So, at the end of the day, Tic Tac Dough on GSN, it's not bad, it's not great, it's right in the middle. It's a C+, we'll give it. It could be more, but I think it's just happy staying in its lane. And I do think it'll be around for a while, maybe 2 seasons, probably have 130 episodes, something around there, so it will last on the network for a while. It will be on Game Show Central. They could try to syndicate it. You know, it will be around. I don't think Bingo Blitz will be around because it's boring as all hell and nobody's going to watch. But Tic Tac Dough, I do think people can watch. I do think people will gravitate to it somewhat. There's some excitement there. Brooke is a draw, and I do believe that the virtual set that they used, is done well here because they didn't try to overextend themselves. And that's pretty much it. I'm probably forgetting something, but I can't remember. I mean, it's late. I had a long day at work, and I kind of want to go to bed. Well, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I want to thank everybody for watching. What are your thoughts on the new Tic Tac Dough on GSN? Leave your comments below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thumbs up the video. And if you want to help support the channel, become a Patreon backer at patreon.com/GameShowGumbo. I'm Cindy Saddleman, and until next time, bye-bye!